I bet walking around in the town with like your armor on did not make every citizen bow to you and be like, oh wow, you're so amazing. Bro, YASUKE walking through that town was like Jesus coming back from being in the desert for 40 days. It was more. Bro, they were gassing him up like crazy. It was nuts. Like, oh, not be surprised. Yeah, I did. Yeah, what do you mean? Glazing, yes, absolutely. He's not the king, yes.
皆さんこんにちは。UBI が謝罪文を発表しました。私のチャンネルでも取り上げましたが、アサクリ擁護派のコメントはどれも異常で会話が成立しないくらい見にくかったです。気になる方は備考欄から後で確認してください。この謝罪文ですが、アメリカの有名な配信者で270万登録者のasmongold氏も取り上げてます。どんな発言してるのか見ていきましょう。
Assassin's Creed has put forward an apology. They've said, we're sorry. Now, what are they sorry for? Let's find out. The significant effort into ensuring an immersive and respectful representation of feudal Japan. Okay. I don't know how it was in feudal Japan, but I bet walking around in the town with like your armor on did not make every citizen bow to you and be like, oh wow, you're so amazing. Bro, YASUKE walking through that town was like Jesus coming back from being in the desert for 40 days. It was more. Bro, they were gassing him up like crazy. It was nuts. Like, oh, not be surprised. Yeah, I did. Yeah, what do you mean? Glazing, yes, absolutely. He's not the king, yes, the fucking emperor. However, our intention has never been to present any of our Assassin's Creed games as factual representations of history or historical characters. Instead, we aim to spark curiosity and encourage players to explore and learn more about the historical settings we get inspired by. I think that people wouldn't have as much of a problem if you made up a character, but I think that what people are really annoyed at with the Assassin's Creed thing is the fact that a lot of this seems to be built on a very shaky foundation. And on top of it being built on a very shaky foundation, it's also built off of a holier-than-thou approach of like, what do you mean he's not a samurai? Are you some kind of a racist? What do you mean this isn't relevant? Are you some kind of a racist? And I think that's what people really don't fucking like. People don't like something that's happening for an obvious reason, and anybody that calls it out is like shamed into being quiet. It's fucking annoying. It's so obnoxious to see people like this. Yeah, it's awful. Yeah. What's the most historic Assassin's Creed? I don't know. I think that really the difference here is that with a lot of the other existing main characters and stories, as far as I know, and guys, correct me if I'm wrong, but many of the characters that are created in the Assassin's Creed games are fictional characters. These are not historical characters. I understand that in some games you interact with historical characters, but I'm talking about playing a character like Ezio, like all these. So it's a very different topic and a very different conversation when you're making a character that is completely fake, and it's like, I am inventing this character for the story, versus I am creating this character from a historical context and then saying this is who the character was, and then if anybody questions it or says this might be off, I'm calling them a racist. This is very different. You're like, in one case you are basically writing fan fiction, and in the other case you are rewriting history. It's a massive fucking difference. Do y'all ever think that they'd ever make an Assassin's Creed game where you help the South win the Civil War? Absolutely fucking not. Do you think that they'd ever make a Civil War movie where you help Nazis? Absolutely fucking not. No. It's because the reason why they're doing this and they're presenting it this way is because it aligns with their worldview, and they're trying to push this out there to everybody. That's the reason why they're trying to virtue signal, because their company was embroiled in as much sexual harassment lawsuit stuff as Blizzard was. They're trying to make up for the fact that if you look at the actual development studio, you look at the people that work at the company, it's just a bunch of fucking white people, but they want to act like they're super diverse in the video games. And why is it? I think that they're overcompensating personally, but you know, that's just my opinion. Example, there was that one female Japanese person, and like they had written books about like, what was it, like relationships between like men and young boys, and talking about that. I'm pretty sure, like, I don't remember exactly like what the details. Yeah, boy, no, right? There's that one, and then there's the other one. So like, yeah, we bring it up, but we're not criticizing really for that. It's like, oh, this is the person that you have. Oh, you're gonna bring this person on, this weirdo? What the fuck? So, as said, YASUKE was most likely a samurai. Most Japanese people had problems with the minute details of the game. Yeah, but then other people, like, I saw that, but then I saw other people saying that the guy was, like, a communist, and, like, other people that were part of that community were saying that he was wrong. Like, honestly, I don't know. I don't speak Japanese. I'm not sure what's really going on with that. I'm not in their culture. Yeah, the historian was heavily discredited. Exactly, yeah. Here's the point, is that I think that everybody can see that the reason why they put YASUKE in the game is so they can position themselves as caring about diversity while being, once again, a pretty much all-white studio that has been embroiled in different types of sexual harassment lawsuits and different types of controversy over the years. That was the reason why the character was included this way. So if you want to talk about taking creative liberties, I don't necessarily respect that level of creativity, because it happens only in a way that is performative. These people do not live this way, they do not behave this way, they do not act this way. They perform this way in order to pay credibility to a ideology that they actually do not live. And I think that everybody can see that. It's optics again. Yeah, it's just optics. And I think that's why people are really offended about it. That's why people are very annoyed about it. Now, why didn't just play it safe and make Japanese Ninja Assassin's Creed game? It would have done a lot better than this. The reason why is because the people in that company care more about looking good than making a good game, probably. It's the same as everybody else. Like, it's so exhausting. I hate these people. I do. I feel like ever since I've started covering this kind of stuff, I've just, like, I've noticed how much more of this, like, fakery there is. And I find it to be very exhausting. And you want to know the reason why I find it to be very problematic and why I'm very against it? Is because I think it's incredibly counterproductive. I think that, you know, for example, like, everybody in the world identifies with Goku. Any guy between the ages of 12 to 30 probably grew up at one point or another, said, I want to look like Goku, or I want to be like Goku, right? It's not this, like, weird abstraction. And, like, I think the people that try to push this narrative, these are people who are... they're not normal people. They're not, like, people that had friends growing up. They're not people that were normal growing up. These are, like, the weird kids that nobody wanted to be friends with in middle school and high school. These are the people who, you know, could never get along with anybody else. These are, like, just marginalized weird freaks that have gotten together on the internet and collectively bully anybody else who dares question their bad behavior. There's a reason why they're on the internet crying and doing this weird shit and not out in real life making a difference or doing anything that makes them happy. You read these people's Twitter accounts and they're just fucking losers. That's the truth. Goku's a good guy? Yeah, exactly. Hard pass on the game. I'll play it for sure now. Like, I mean, you guys know I have to play it for sure. My response, fuck you. Yeah, they knew what they were doing. Yeah, they obviously knew what they were doing. The entire story in the game is completely inauthentic. Kind of surprised in one state inclusion and diversity? No, of course not. Because they're talking to an audience that's not Western. They can't control the, you know, non-Western audiences by trying to appeal to that. Goku does prove a point that representation and gender is important, though. 0 girls identify with Goku. Well, of course, yeah. It's way like I'll be honest. Like, look, this is me. It's way easier for me to identify with a black guy than a white girl. Absolutely, it's not even a question. Like, instantaneously. Like your gender and your lived experience is totally massive. It totally changes the way you experience life. Yeah, I mean, anybody who's saying that is like, who's saying that's not true is fucking delusional.
以上です。彼もかなり怒ってるみたいでした。今日の動画は以上になります。何か思うことあればコメントをいただければと思います。チャンネル登録とグッドボタンをよろしくお願いします。